Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed the design drive and our track sessions. We're in the final stretch of the day with 2 more very exciting keynote presentations ahead of us. So let's get to it. Up next, we'll hear from Sean Nason, CEO of Mofi, on finding your inner dragon. I'm intrigued. Sean, take it away.
Well, hi there, everybody. It's great to be a part of Design Thinking and the first virtual one ever. And yes, Michael, we're going to talk about today about finding your inner dragon. So we're going to jump right in, tell you a little bit about myself and Mofi. We started Mofi in 2015. We are a growth strategy group that has a focus on experience, innovation, and growth and strategy within any organization. But today, I want to talk to you more on a personal note and what it's like to find your inner dragon. So think of the dragon as your trusted sidekick, a strong, committed, resilient, and wise, sometimes humorous guide at your side. And that dragons are constantly. So in the world today, some people think of dragons as negative, some think of them as positive. But today I want you to embrace your inner dragon, and we'll be there to help you as you navigate through your way to whatever these ups and downs are that arise. We're actually in the process of writing a book around this and what it will look like. So when you embrace your own personal dragon, we not only believe, but know that with the support of your dragon, you will learn, embrace, practice, and eventually own a powerful set of mindsets and even heart sets that will serve you well in your daily life. So next, we'll take you from the plateau of a mindset power to an even higher level through your unique journey. So I want to talk to you for just a moment in regards to this saying. It says, to right the wrongs of the world, we've got to get real about what gets in the way. So to right the wrongs of the world, we've got to get real about what gets in the way. So on the path of finding your inner dragon, it starts with naming what you are calling upon your dragon to do. So let's talk about what gets in the way in your daily life. Could it be doubt in the past, present, or maybe in the future? You've had an inner voice that says, I'm not a disruptor, I'm not creative, I'm not a risk taker. But I'm here to say within all of us, that's not true. Or maybe something else that might get in the way is fear. This feeling of fear of starting, the fear of failure, the fear of going fast or first, or the fear of change. At its core, FEAR is really false evidence appearing real. I want to say that again. At its core, FEAR is really false evidence appearing real. Or maybe it's simply comfort. Comfort isn't disruption, and it's not bad, but it's not good. Maybe we move too slow. Steady as she goes is way better in a regulated, risk-averse, old organization. Or just comfortable with how things are. I know for the past 10 years, I've worked within the medical and healthcare industry, and there's a whole lot of comfort today within what's happening in America and in the healthcare world. What's happening in our world around this pandemic has taken many of us, if not all of us, somehow out of our comfort zones. Which leads to this: isolation. Or sometimes it can be very lonely. Many of us who are extroverts, me being one of those, through this last 7 months of the pandemic, at times can feel isolated. The work of disruption may sometimes feel like you are going at this all alone. And maybe you don't even know who to collaborate with or even how to. And after months of quarantine, having one more thing to go at alone can feel like isolation. Or maybe it's this one. Simply said, boredom. Mr. Boredom. I get it. You're bored. If you're stagnant, not learning new things, or haven't unleashed your inner disruptor for a while, it is easy to be uninspired or demotivated. And so, how do you overcome that? How do you overcome any of these? I want to talk about one thing, though. You notice what's missing from the list. No mention of Fabiano from finance, or Isabel from IT, or Hassan from HR. Also absent is office politics. Many of us don't have to deal with office politics right now because we're home in our work offices or sitting in a coffee shop. And there certainly is nothing here on competing priorities, budget time, or etc. That's purposeful. These are things each of us can take accountability for in our own lives. So how do we overcome these? That's what I want to talk to you about. It truly is about finding your inner dragon. So let's get back at it. Again, to right the wrongs of the world, we've got to get real about what gets in the way. So think about that. Is it doubt? Is it comfort? Is it isolation? Is it fear? Is it boredom? What is the thing that gets in the way for you? I want to just take a moment and pause there and have you think 10 seconds. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper if you're sitting at your desk, or type it out on a thing. What is it that is getting in the way of you and getting in the way of making sure that this doesn't happen? And most importantly, we've got to remember this. This starts with the person looking back at you in the mirror. So let's talk about our inner dragon. We all have one. We've been conditioned that dragons are evil, as I said at the beginning of this. If you were in the workshop yesterday that Robin Glasgow from our team and Michael Harper did, you learned that in fact dragons are legendary creatures that symbolize protection, success, wisdom, loyalty, fearlessness, strength, balance, and immense possibility. Being the master of all four of those elements, fire, water, earth, and wind, it also embodies power. So having a dragon as your spirit guide means you are fierce and confident in everything you do. It means you never hesitate to speak the truth and may turn dangerous for those who are not in your good books. You are passionate with an innate wisdom that can speak and act readily. So maybe we need to reimagine and rethink dragons. Nope. Spoiler alert, you guys. We all have a dragon within us. And it's actually taken me 47 years to figure that out. And our job is to reframe what a dragon is and how to find that in you. So I talked about mindsets, but we want to shift now to heart sets. Think of your heart sets as your moral compass, your values. Heart sets are where emotional intelligence shows up. Here you feel something in your heart. You might also feel something in your gut. I'm a gut person, and my team will all tell you I react on my gut. And then as you're trying to navigate and manage what your head is saying, that's where emotional intelligence shows up. And I want to say this. What does this have to do with design thinking? It has everything. As a leader, as a practitioner, design thinking is based in empathy. It is based in this empathetic part of our life. And that to me is a root to all these heart sets. It's to be based in empathy. So I want to share a little bit of a story with you. 1973. Some of you were mere figments of your parents' imagination. Some of you in here might have graduated from high school at that point. But the average cost of a house was $32,000. Average annual income was $13,000. A dozen of eggs, 45 cents. A gallon of gas, 35 cents. Battle of the Sexes match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs, which, by the way, she beat him in 3 sets. The popular films of 1973, The Exorcist, Deliverance, Live and Let Die, and Lady Sings the Blues. And popular TV shows included MASH, Sanford and Son, The Waltons, and The Partridge Family. And yes, to me, the greatest year, because it was the year I was born. And this is the story of the beginning of me finding my inner dragon. Each of us has that dragon blood running through our veins. Each of us already has that inner dragon. The challenge is to find it, and here's how I found mine. Barbara. Barbara was my mother. My mother was 6 foot tall, 350 pounds, wore heels, actually went by in our neighborhood by the nickname Big Barb. But Big Barb had a heart of gold. And she, as a social worker, also as a politician, she sat on our school board. She taught me how to find my inner dragon. There was no possibilities not possible. There was no situation that couldn't be conquered. I remember as a child that by the time I was 13 years old, I had counted on my hands how many times my mother, as a social worker, had given away the furniture in our house. Could have been our living room set or our bedroom sets. But she gave them away because she was based in this whole thing of empathy. Again, what does finding the inner dragon have to do with design thinking? I will tell you, I think it's everything. My mother taught me how to fight for what was right and fight for justice for those that deserved to be justified. I never knew anything different about religion, about skin colors, about people's own values, but I knew and was taught how to treat people with respect and dignity. And me finding my inner dragon has gone through my whole life. And today I live by 3 principles. And one of those principles is this whole concept of disruptive giving and generosity. And so sometimes I call my inner dragon generous, because it's my goal to find the best in each and every person, and to lean in, and instead of breathing fire on them, is to kiss them. So I want to say more about that. So you say, that's easy for you, Sean. You're the man on fire. Of course, dragons and fire, it's kind of weird. You were raised by a dragon. So of course, you'd have no problem finding your inner dragon. And my team will tell you that I'm certifiably batshit, the weirdest, craziest, hard to put in a box human they've ever met and ever worked for. And I'm really glad you can't see any of their faces today, because they would get in their head or they would be showing it. Saying to yourself, there's no way I can find my inner dragon, and to flip the finger to status quo. And that was the polite way of basically telling the world to go F theirself. But I'm going to say this in 2 words. Bullshit. Each of us have an inner dragon. And let me explain what that might look like. So I'm going to pull up a slide here of some popular movies. And I want you to start to think about it as you see the slide and as we're moving through here. Albert from Hitch, if you've seen that movie. Or maybe Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Or how this all came about, Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. So I have a 12-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I've been exposed to watching How to Train Your Dragon 1, 2, and 3 several times. And as we started to put this presentation together and what we as a company are working on right now, Hiccup came about. Each of these well-known characters' stories started off different than mine, and your story starts off different than mine. And each of us had that moment that helped us find our inner dragon. That moment for Albert, Dorothy, Hiccup, me, and you, where the inner dragon showed itself. And let me come back to this in a moment, but I want to talk to you about this. As humans, we are not meant to navigate our lives alone. Introvert or extrovert, we need human connection. And to find your inner dragon, we often need to help each other and need the help of each other. And that human becomes part of your swarm. And so this picture is a swarm of dragons. Whether the swarm is from a moment or for a lifetime, the message is the same. Find your swarm. We've all heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together. Finding other dragons who have done this work before makes good sense. Why not steal what others have done well? Why not surround yourself with others who have done the stealing? The work of disruption can be lonely, and I will say this, there is no need to go at it alone. For those of you who have been where you are or going where you want to go, there's a saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's your swarm. If you're trying to find your inner dragon, rely on someone from your swarm to serve as your push. Birds of different feathers. Not if your swarm looks like you, thinks like you, has the same challenges and opportunities as you, then you might not have the right swarm. But to disrupt, you need to surround yourself with those who bring a difference. Maybe it's upbringings, it's experience, it's ideals, it's walks of life. Once you have found different feathers, embrace them. Your difference will be your force multiplier. Your difference will be your force multiplier that results in better returns. I honestly don't understand why more leaders do not proactively embrace seeking out different thinkers on their teams. And for finding your inner dragon, rely on someone who is different than you to add to your toolkit. So let's go back to our movie characters. Albert had Hitch. Dorothy had Glinda. Hiccup had Toothless, his dragon. Even Scottie Pippen had Michael Jordan, and Robin had Batman. You get the point. Barbara, Hitch, Glinda, Toothless, Jordan, Batman were each part of these individual swarm. They showed them courage, they inspired them, they kicked them in the ass if they needed it, and they did what was required to help them find their inner dragon. And the cool thing is, for each of us, these characters, including this character, this crazy, as you can tell, standing or sitting before you, each had the power in us all along the way. Sometimes we just need permission. And so to close today, I give you permission to find your inner dragon. Thank you. And what I want to share with you is you can look at Mofi, you can follow us on social media. And I didn't put this in the slide until we were just talking about this, but if you need a place to come find your inner dragon, go to disruptorleague.com. And there we've built a community of 50,000 disruptors, and now an intimate group within our Disruptor League called Disruptor League Plus. Come, join us, join my team, join my swarm, join our disruptors, and let's go kick ass together. Thank you for today, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you wherever you may be in this world. But go find your inner. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean and the Mofi team. Now, I'm very excited to welcome 7-Eleven's Chief Digital Officer, Tarang Sethia, to the virtual stage. Tarang will share how he's driving meaningful innovation through a human-first vision at 7-Eleven. I'll see you back here to close out shortly. Take it away, Tarang.
Thank you. I hope you guys can hear me clearly and see me. I'm here to talk to you about digital innovation and or transformation. I actually think that it's actually business transformation by focusing on digital experiences of the customers or the users. So any meaningful digital innovation can only be achieved if you focus on the problems or the opportunities of the customers or the users. So, I wanted to start with this. I wanted to start with this quote. You can't understand how wine is made simply by drinking lots of it. And I think it is very profound because you can't really, achieve a vision for customers or the users of a product by saying that, hey, let's build it and it will really solve the customer's problem, unless you walk in the shoes of the customer and understand what that problem is or what the opportunity is, and will the customer or the user of the product really bite it, right? So that's kind of the essence of why I wanted to produce this quote. Let me take a moment to introduce what does digital mean at 7-Eleven? So digital at 7-Eleven, if you think about 7-Eleven, we are a network of 70,000 stores worldwide and about 14,000 stores in North America. And we are within 1 mile of 70% of the North American population, and within 3 miles of about 80% of the American population. And if you look at a store, it is divided into, here's this physical footprint, which has a store, which has store associates, it has store systems. Customers come inside the store and purchase the merchandise that we have in the store. Customers actually, when they come inside the store, and if they are loyal, they actually identify themselves with the loyalty app. When they are at the pump, they identify themselves with the loyalty app and get cents off gallon or get earn points inside the store to get free stuff. Or we take 7-Eleven to the customer if they are sitting at home, and we are arguably the fastest delivery provider in the country with the delivery of uh, food like pizza, wings, any of the beverages like Slurpees, Cokes, Gatorade, or even condoms in less than 30 minutes. So this is kind of the ecosystem of how 7-Eleven interacts with the customer, and how 7-Eleven interacts with the store, and how 7-Eleven interacts with the CPG providers who provide the amazing merchandise of food and beverages that our customers really want. So, and that is, I as a chief digital officer am responsible for redefining convenience for customers and everybody who serves them, which is the stores, which is the partners, which is the enterprise, which is everybody in the ecosystem that is solving the problem for the customer. So as I go into kind of design thinking, what are the governing principles for a human first design? And the way we see it at 7-Eleven is based on three big principles. Number one being inclusive. What does that mean? That means that our products are grounded in user needs and aspirations. We validate those pain points through an immersive experience. We call it the lean test or customer test. So we don't just build stuff and put stuff out for customers. We actually build MVPs and let the customers use it and learn from it before we roll out products in the market. Whether they are products that the customers are going to use, whether they are products that the stores are going to use to serve customers, whether the franchisees are going to use or our supplier partners are going to use, like the Cokes and Pepsis of the world. Second principle is being convergent. And what does that mean? Convergent is our approach of blending the physical and the digital focus. And it focuses on the fluidity of the experience across all the touch points in the ecosystem, from the time customer thinks about coming to 7-Eleven, from the time customer thinks about what 7-Eleven can do for them, whether it is merchandise in the store, gas pumps, or stuff that they want to order to be delivered at their home. This bridges the gap between the environments and creates a unified experience. And I'm going to take you through experiences, through examples of what we mean by these. And the number three is the most important, which is relevant, because no product, no experience would be adopted by customers until it is relevant to the customers. So create a contemporary experience which is aware of the trends and the needs of the customer, right? This makes sure that the situation and meaning aspires to solve the problem of the customer, right? Or the stakeholder, which may be the stores or enterprise or our partners. So 3 points, again summarizing: inclusive, convergent, and relevant. And I'll take you through examples of which explain those. So the first example is mobile checkout. Now you would think, what is mobile checkout? We realize that if you go to a 7-Eleven at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, there are 9 or 10 people in the line. And the basic value proposition of 7-Eleven is being convenient, is a 60 to 90-second transaction instead of going to a grocery store where you may have to wait minutes before you check out. So what did we do? We understood the customer problem that they don't like to wait in lines. The whole value proposition of 7-Eleven is that they come in and out. Second, the way the value proposition of 7-Eleven is the customer is in charge of his or her shopping experience, that they pick up things that they want and they leave. And in this COVID environment, we also needed a safe and quick experience for both the customers and the store associate that was solving the customer's problem. So we came up with a product called Mobile Checkout. And what does it do? Customers can come inside the store, scan the products they want, pay for them, confirm at the confirmation station, and leave. Now, what does a confirmation station do? Well, we first put this product out to give customers, and we realized that they were scanning and paying, and they were feeling like they were being judged whether they had paid for it or not. The store associates did not know who had paid for it, and were looking at customers buying inside their stores. So we employed the concept of service design, so that a customer, once they buy and they're in charge of their shopping experience, they actually would confirm on a confirmation station, which would turn green and make a sound, where they knew now that the customer, that I have paid for it, and the store knows that I have paid for it. And it did the same for the store associate. It brought through a auditory and sensory feedback from the confirmation station, it solved the problem of both the customer and the store associate serving the customer. And now the customer did not have to wait in line, felt in charge of their shopping experience, and was in and out of the store quickly. And we as a store could not have put people at the doors, and it would have not solved the customer's problem if we had to check receipt and products of every customer. So we employed service design to solve for this problem of the customer. The second example that I want to bring is providing value while meeting the contextual needs of the customer. And how did we do that? We actually recently introduced fuel loyalty. And fuel loyalty is, if you are identifying yourself and you are a loyal customer of a fuel pump, then you get special discount, which is cents of gallon. But if you think about, if we had thought about it just that way, we would have just introduced a loyalty program. As we dug deeper, based on the customer problem, we realized that when you go to a fuel pump and you dip your credit card, $100 hold is put on your credit card or a debit card, which is then released in 3 days or 4 days. And what does that mean? Even if when you're filling up gas for $10, $20, $30, and especially our value-driven customers who fill gas for, say, $10, $20, it was that $90 were not available to them. So what did we do? The first thing we introduced in our fuel loyalty program was a customer could choose the amount that they wanted to pay for fuel. What that did was that actually told the credit card companies or the debit card firms that they don't need to hold the money, hold $100 for the customer for next 3 to 4 business days. It would only hold the money that the customer was filling in. Second, the customers actually needed a contactless payment experience. And it wasn't just about contactless payment, it was about the convenience of it. So if you go to a 7-Eleven to fill gas, you won't need to take your wallet out. The app actually knows where you are. And especially in this environment of COVID, you don't have to take your credit card, dip your credit card into the pump, enter your zip code to verify, it takes all that touch away. It actually knows that you are on this pump. You just choose how much you want to fill, and it activates the pump, and it also activates the special savings for you. And all you do is pick up the handle with using one of the gloves and fill gas and leave. You don't have to carry your wallet. You don't have to carry your credit card. While this provides that contactless experience, it also provides for the security. So if you look at any security data on credit cards or debit cards, you are 3 times more likely to have your credit card or debit card skimmed when you use it at a fuel pump. So we are taking that need of the customer, that problem of the customer, and solving for it as well. So again, three distinct problems. While we also learned that these value customers, how do we bring them inside the store as well? Well, we could bring them inside the store by giving them more value at the pump if they came inside the store and bought and stuff. And we tested that with customers before we rolled it out at all of our pumps. Like if they bought 8 wings, we would give them 3 cents of gallon additional, which they could use right away at the pump. So again, the focused on the contextual and relevant need of the customer. I'm going to go into a third example, which in my mind is very much focused on how how would it solve a specific problem of the loyalty customer. Now, loyalty programs have been around for 50-60 years. Customers have been able to enter their phone numbers in the Walgreens and CVS's or the grocery stores of the world and get special discounts. But we had introduced a points program that the more customers buy, the more points they earn. And how do they use those points to get free stuff? When we first started out, we had put some coupons, and it was really hard for customers to redeem those points. We quickly learned that they had to actually choose a menu item and then put it in their wallet, and then come to the store and make sure that they buy that. Well, that was a lot of friction, and it wasn't customer obsessed. So uh, by by making the entire store available to the customer and making it available without them even having to take their phone out and opening the app, available at the customer facing device, and tell them that, hey, you have enough points, do you want to save this $1, right? And with one click, giving them that value. That actually helped us taking away the hold up guilt of the customer, and it solved the core need of our persona with an experience that brought them both value and a gamified experience with the shop with points. Now we realize that the entire financial services ecosystem has been solving for through Venmo and PayPal has or Google Pay or Apple Pay has been solving for the credit card or debit card customers. Nobody is solving for cash customers. And that's when we realized that we needed to solve for cash customers. And hence we are introducing a digital wallet where a customer can load cash, come to a store and load cash, and then use it as contactless payment both at the pump and inside the store. Now, as a cash customer, you would think, why would I want to block my cash, right? At a 7-Eleven. Well, as we talked to customer and we did more research, more contextual research, we realized that today these cash customers were spending inordinate amount of fees to get access to these digital services like Ubers and Netflixes of the world. So what we are doing is we are opening that up for our customers without any fee. You can go to a 7-Eleven, load cash to your digital wallet, and then use that cash as a contactless payment both at the pump, inside the store, and while buying services like Netflix or getting an Uber ride or buying stuff on Amazon without any fees. And we are launching this very soon in November. We are testing it in Orlando, entire Orlando right now. But that is where the innovation for convenience comes into the play. So these were the examples of how we are looking at the customer problems and leveraging human interaction and human-based design to solve for those problems. So one last experience that I wanted to talk about was addressing the cognitive store associate, who now, today, uh, so if you go to any small business store or any convenience store other than 7-Eleven, they have like 3 or 4 devices. Here's a store associate who works on minimum wage. He or she has to use a device to order stuff for the store, to check out the inventory, to check out the things that are out of date, uh, to order stuff, to manage what goes where, to manage when the coffee is out, to manage when the Coke is out of the big gulp machine. So we looked at that cognitive overload of a store associate, and we realized that there are multiple products and services that the store has to do. And how could we combine those and converge those to reduce the cognitive overload and simplify the experience of the store associate, so that the store associate can can serve the customer instead of figure out the systems. And we built this in one device called 7-Eleven mobile device, where they could use this device to do all kinds of inventory management, to check out the customer, to even take the store outside their store. They could even go to the fuel pump and check out a customer. They could go to the neighborhood soccer game, right? To serve the customer. And it's a responsive interface which accommodates all kinds of mobile transactions in external environments, even beyond stores. This actually this actually reduces the learning curve of the store associates that are coming in, and hence they are able to focus less on how to know to solve to make the customer transaction, rather than solving and serving the customer. So it also provides dark and light modes for screens based on visibility and lighting conditions and work shifts. So it's a seamless experience for the store associate for solving the customer need. So it's not just technology is not just about creating new cool stuff and then expecting the user to use it, but it's about going deeper into what is that job that we have to do for the user, for the customer, which would surprise and delight the user so well that they don't go back to their old methods. So what is coming next? We are actually innovating to enrich human lives to deep empathy while retaining the human factor. We are investing in the emotional quotient of the stores by reinforcing trust, safety, convenience, and community. So we've launched a cashierless store in our corporate headquarters, and we are looking at scaling them across our 14,000 stores, retrofitting them so that a customer doesn't have to do anything. The art of picking an item up is the art of shopping, and they can come in and out. So I want to show a brief video of what does that experience look like in a cashierless store. So that's how cool is that? That's the future of convenience. That's how we are going to completely redefine convenience. But what we are looking at is looking at the short term, medium term, and long term. This is how the convenience is going to look like. But we are not going to let our 14,000 stores or 70,000 stores worldwide be left behind. And hence we are introducing all the capabilities to solve for the core needs of the customers and everybody who serves them. So that was my presentation on how 7-Eleven is focusing on the customers and users and applying human first design. I'm open to any questions that anybody has.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being with us, Tarang, and for an amazing presentation. I do have a couple of questions that have come through, so would love to throw them at you. So first up, a question has come through about, you sort of mentioned redefining convenience as being a key part of your role, sort of as part of your job description, which is really interesting. How is that mission formulated, and how did that sort of focus become a priority in your chief digital officer role?
So I'm going to answer that question with a little bit of history. So 7-Eleven actually was the first, we created the convenience store concept. Uncle Johnny in downtown Dallas, people came to him and said, "Hey, all the grocery stores close at 5 p.m. in the evening. What if we want to buy milk, bread, and eggs?" So Uncle Johnny put some milk, bread, and eggs in the store. And hey, but how long will the store open? Uncle Johnny said, "Hey, I'm going to be open until midnight." For fast forward 30 years, 40 years, as the industrial revolution happened and corporate America started going to work, customers told Uncle Johnny, "Hey, I want a coffee, but I'm in a hurry. I have to drive to work. How could I get that to-go coffee or a to-go soda?" Uncle Johnny came up with the 7-Eleven came up with the to-go coffee cups. And that's how the concept of coffee cups came in. So innovation for the customer. 20 years forward, if you go to the American History Museum in Washington, D.C., you would see how 7-Eleven introduced curbside when it was okay to leave your kids in car and go pick something up, or store would bring it out. I would advise against it. But the curbside delivery came up based on the customer need, the mom's need that I could not leave my kids in the car. So what did 7-Eleven do? You would call 7-Eleven and they would bring your milk, bread, and eggs and your favorite coffee to your car. Well, in 90s, we realized that we had created this big network, but we had stopped. We were only focusing on the product innovation that the customers bought. We had stopped on the convenience innovation, because with the advent of Amazon, with the advent of so many other digital services, our customers were losing out on the value proposition of convenience, 60 to 90-second transaction. Hence, the need came up that we don't want customers to wait in line. We want to give them the best value. We want to meet them where they are. We don't even, we want to take the store to them. Hence, redefining convenience for them. So we launched loyalty. We launched mobile checkout. We launched delivery across the country. We are now launching cashierless stores. We are launching fuel loyalty to give them more value. Hence, the need of redefining the convenience for customers. Did I answer your question?
That's perfect. Very interesting. You guys are continuing to pioneer what convenience looks like, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So another follow-on question to that. Obviously you've been at 7-Eleven for a number of years, and you've been using human-centered design and kind of design thinking methods in your approach to digital experience design for 7-Eleven. Would you say that you kind of introduced the concept of design thinking to 7-Eleven, or do you feel like it's just sort of part of the culture of 7-Eleven?
So I would be lying if I said that I introduced it, and I would also be lying if I said that it was core in the culture of 7-Eleven. Well, culture of innovation, of customer focused problem solving is in the DNA, but I felt like we had lost that way for the new age customer as they started interacting with us in a digital first format or a mobile first format. So actually 3 weeks ago was my 4-year anniversary. I was the first employee of the digital team. And the things that we did not do right before was, we said, we also want to have a loyalty app. So what did we do? Engineers started designing the loyalty app, and product managers like me started designing it. Instead of having a design thinking approach to go to the customers and understanding their needs and solving for it. And hence we built out the world-class design organization. Now our design organization has customer researchers, has interaction designers, has visual designers, and we always validate with our customers before we put it out for the millions of customers and across 14,000 stores.
Very good. So a bit more of a kind of a follow-on question to that. Really love the sort of inclusive, convergent, and relevant as your human-first design principles. Also, did that come from part of your digital team that you sort of built from scratch? How is this sort of co-created as sort of becoming the process of how you guys would go about digital design?
So yes, so it actually, as we built out our design team and our product team, right? And as we moved away from outsourcing innovation, that, hey, who's the best vendor in the market who's providing this innovation? We built this culture, and we just started listening to customers more. And I'll use an example of how that is coming to life. If you've been to a restaurant that actually delivers food from Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, or or Amazon restaurants, or any of the providers, today the store is, in that restaurant associate actually has 5 iPads, and they ding whenever a customer orders. Then they look at that order, they punch in the POS. Now there is a human error that could happen, right? You may not get your order. Plus, there's a human error on always looking at it. What our design thinking approach did was, we said, hey, this is a cognitive load. What are we going to do? We are going to integrate all the orders that come in, irrespective of whether they come in from the 7-Eleven app or they come in from any of the marketplaces. For the store associate, they're going to look like they came from the customer, and and it will be completely integrated, and stuff would start getting prepared for the customer and break the manual chain. So that's I use that example to show how our product and design teams infuse the culture of customer focused innovation to solve the problem. This is a very simple technology solution, right? But it takes some vulnerability to say, hey, we are going to treat a customer, yeah, all customers equal, whether they come through 7 Now app or they come through Uber Eats or they come through any other delivery provider.
Very good. So one last question I have here is kind of on customer research methods, especially in digital experience design. There's some really interesting, tactics for usability testing, really understanding how people interact with digital products and understanding that human behavior. Sort of thinking of pre-COVID times and current times, how has customer research changed or evolved? How are you able to do sort of digital usability research in a completely remote environment in some ways? How's the strategy evolved?
So how the strategy has evolved is, we created an infrastructure of customer research where we had three ways that we were doing this research. One was, we are going to the stores and talking to the customers and doing those research. Second, we are bringing these customers inside our labs and doing the research. But the third, very important, is we actually recruited thousands of customers across the country as our kind of the customer research base or a beta base. So when so post COVID, what actually helped us was, because we also had these thousands of customers, right? So what we are doing is, as we are introducing any new capabilities, we are first introducing to these customers, and we have a direct voice of customer channel with them, getting their feedback even remotely. So any new design that we come up with, we first introduce based on our ABC testing and all the technology framework to these customers first. And we've been lucky that way. Same way, some of the store innovation, we are first launching in some stores, which where we can change stuff on the cloud sitting here and see if it's solving the store associates problem.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I think that's all the questions we have for you. Thank you again for joining us today. It was a really great presentation.
Thank you so much. And I hope I've been able to share how our design team, our product team, is focusing on customers And if any of you see any opportunities that you want to at 7-Eleven, we'd love to get your services. So this is also my employment pitch for all the great product and design people out there.
I love it.
Thanks
again, Tarang. I have to say, there's certainly a common trend across all of today's keynotes and presentations. All roads lead back to the human element. This focus on the human is amplified during times of uncertainty, making design thinking truly more important now than ever before. Thanks again to Tarang and all of today's speakers. Please make sure to visit designinnovationglobal.com and become a member. You'll get free access to the latest news, events, and reports on design thinking, including our very first market study, just released. Well, this concludes our second day of Design Thinking Virtual Experience. Thanks for joining us today, and don't forget to come back tomorrow, September 11th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern for our final day. We've got another jam-packed day featuring design thinking visionaries and also one of our attendee favorites, think tanks, where attendees will have the opportunity to network and benchmark on critical key topics. Until then, bye-bye.